Hi everyone, Joshua here with Barista Warehouse. Today we're using the Pavoni Professional Lever machine to brew espresso. The iconic style of this coffee machine cannot be overstated. And what draws a lot of people to the Pavoni Professional is that there's everything you will find on a regular home espresso machine, like the steam wand, a pressure gauge, a level indicator for your water tank. You get a single and a double dosing filter basket, and that boiler that is built from high quality, long lasting brass. But what's interestingly more unique about Pavoni's direct lever machines is that fundamental experience that gives you a hands-on approach to espresso brewing and the amusement of literally pulling down on this lever and getting that immediate feedback from within the coffee and then being able to adjust on the fly and switch it up to experiment with it. When you do brew a great espresso on the Pavonis, it's far greater a satisfaction than compared to pressing a button on a semi-auto. So if you want to take the dive and shop the full range of Pavoni machines, including this professional model, you can by following this link right here. Let's now navigate our way through brewing on it so you know what's involved and how to do it. First and foremost, it's best practice to ensure you have the Pro's 1.6 litre boiler full or reasonably full each time you go to use it, as it's not that easy to fill up once hot, as you'd have to wait for it to cool down again before removing the lid. And using a soft filtered water is the way to go, and that's really a good tip for any espresso brewing. Now, warm-up time can vary with the ambient temperatures around you, but allow a good 5 to 8 minutes for the Pavoni to reach temperature, and it'll shut off heating automatically with an inbuilt pressure stat and thermofuse. In which case, just open up and release some of the steam from the steam tap a little bit, and this is that first discipline on the Pavoni, critical to removing that air that was left in there from when the lid was off. This causes a false pressure, but once it's removed, you'll notice that the pressure drops, the heater turns on for a second more, and then restabilizes after that. So from here, give it a few extra moments for the rest of the group head to warm up. As it's not a saturated group head, it relies on the thermal mass of the boiler to transfer heat through the metal components. Now, an excellent addition to the Pavoni would be a thermal sticker placed around the front of the group head to tell when it has reached optimal temperatures. There's one made by Espresso I know comes in very handy, and I certainly wish I had one right now, but I'll throw a link up above for that. Dosing into the 52mm portafilter is pretty similar to a full-size handle. You can fit around 18 grams in the basket, but I would strongly consider having a good headspace after tamping, so I've gone with 15 grams in. This will also help me get a better yield from my espresso. Now, the Pavoni doesn't come with a metal tamper, but a plastic one. Do yourselves a favor and get a metal one. There's a link up above for that. And one more thing to add to that list, if you haven't already got one, is a grinder that can grind for espresso brewing. It's an integral part to the quality of your espresso shots, and that's primarily based on the pressure you'll be able to achieve. If your grinder's not fine enough, which is likely the outcome of a cheap non-espresso focused grinder, then the pressure in your espressos is going to be no better than using a wet sock. The next discipline for brewing on the Pavoni is preventing the suction that's caused when lifting the handle up to brew. This can potentially disrupt the coffee in the basket, so it is recommended to lift the lever up first until you see a little bit of water coming out of the group head. Then back it off a little bit and it'll stop dripping. It's then that you lock in the handle, gently lift up the lever all the way up from here. I place some scales underneath my cup to measure my espressos out, just to ensure I'm not overshooting my recipe. Now, when you start to see drips coming out of the spouts, this is usually a good indication of a saturated puck and pre-infusion has then finished. So with a steady and even pressure applied to the lever, begin to pull it down to begin extracting your espressos. If you've gotten it all right up until now, the pour will be nice and steady with an even flow that mirrors the effort you're applying to the lever. Now, troubleshooting your espressos during brewing, you can speed up or slow down the momentum of the lever, which will impact the pressure and the flow of that espresso coming out. And once you do it a few times with positive reinforcement from delicious tasting espressos, you will begin to pick up the knack of reproducible results. And the espresso from the Pavonis is something to cherish. It's flavorful, it can be well balanced and bright, or full-bodied and rich, depending on the coffee that you use. To begin steaming milk on the La Pavoni, it's as simple as waiting for the boiler to reach temperature again and using that 3-hole steam tip. Doesn't have a huge amount of power behind it, but it will do the trick to steam milk, perfect for any milk-based beverage. You also get an automatic milk frother attachment with the La Pavoni. Now, this connects via a different sort of nozzle, and it sucks up milk from a separate container, steams it, and then returns it into your cup. It works okay, but I think if you've come this far on the La Pavoni, you've probably already started to drink black coffee, or you're keen on giving steaming your milk a good crack. And I guess the biggest misconception with La Pavoni lever machines is that you can be making coffees on them all day. But in truth, having it left on now for 30 minutes or so, everything has reached a temperature equilibrium close to that of the boiler that sits at around 0.8 bars or 117 degrees Celsius. Now, the exterior is not going to be all that hot, although it's still pretty hot. The water will no longer be offset by a cooler group head. So higher water temperatures are expected than what's really associated with a good range for brewing espressos. Now, I do know there are some tips out there though to lower the temperature specifically in the group head, and this will make the largest impact. Be sure to search those out if you do intend on making more than 5 or 6 coffees back to back, and you may just find it's worth your while. So in cleaning the La Pavoni, it's important to do after every shot, and there's no back flushing available on these machines, so you'll want to perform a good flush of the group head after every shot of espresso is brewed. I wish the drip tray was a little bit deeper here for that. Now, using that brush that's provided, give the shower screen and the seal a good scrub, and this pretty well makes up the daily cleaning of the machine. And in general, there are La Pavoni levers still circulating out there from 50 years ago or so, meaning they're a very serviceable machine with every part available to replace. And that's the La Pavoni Lever Professional. Now, you could really call it the John Dewey approach to espresso brewing, being so hands-on, considering the pressure, the temperature, timing, dosage, preparing the puck and the water flow, but with a huge audience already out there of passionate La Pavoni users, there's no shortage of hints, tips, and tricks found on forums and on Facebook to satisfy the inner barista and everybody. So if you have any questions on the La Pavoni, go there or drop them in the comment section down below and we'll get straight back to you. Don't forget to hit that little bell icon on your screen, and then that way you stay notified when we bring out new videos just like this every week. If you've enjoyed this video, hit the thumbs up. Thanks for watching and we'll see you next time.